It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I'm your host of Truth to Power, Kyle Wallace, and I'm coming to you live. Yes, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. 833-212-1017. You can always call in or text in if anything piques your interest with today's conversation. Shout out to y'all, Truth Nation. I love y'all. You can also watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That is 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and also share. And then additionally, make sure you download the award-winning 1017 The Truth app, and make sure you listen to us live as well. We stream live on the 1017 The Truth app as well. So if you're got to get out the car, going to the office, don't have access to YouTube, or you just want to listen along in your headset, go ahead and simply open up the 1017 The Truth app and stream us live. Yeah, you heard me. I said what I said.
We're live.
We are live, and shout out to Rhea Riley holding it down on the ones and the twos.
What up, y'all?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. But, you know, I don't really talk about my American pride too much. I think I make it very clear I love America, even though America has some bad things about it. But I saw some stuff in the news, Truth Nation. I saw some stuff in the news that I just, again, I enjoy using this platform to be able to make sure we're aware of things that are going on. And I'm a big tea leaves guy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Rhea, you've known me long enough. I really don't I don't put conspiracy theories out there, but I do try to connect the dots. Now, my dots don't always connect. I'm not perfect. I'm not 100%. Nobody's 100% with connecting the dots. But I do follow the tea leaves about what's going on and what could happen. I was talking to DJ Brother Z, and I sent him an article over the weekend because we were trying to figure out. He said, what show did you want me to play? And I talked about how at some point they're going to start attacking black student unions on campus, right? Like they're going to attack black student unions because it happened at some universities across this country. But I said that's going to happen more. And then eventually you're going to have people start asking the questions of why do they need HBCUs? Just at the University of Missouri, the black student union had their Black to School, and it's funny because Homer Blow says black and not back. They're having their Black to School barbecue, and it got shut down by the university because they said it was excluding people. How the hell? It doesn't say only Black to School. It just called Black to School. And they shut it down on campus so the BSU couldn't hold their Black to School cookout. And I'm telling y'all, there's going to be a lot more conversations about that, but I tried to follow the tea leaves before, so now I got another tea leaf for y'all to follow. Off the top today, I'm going to hit y'all with another tea leaf about my American pride in the freedom of speech.
Y'all know what time it is. It's time for Off the Top on Truth to Power. Kyle, let Truth Nation know what you got to get off your chest today.
Truth Nation, listen, I am a proponent of free speech. I'm a proponent of freedom of speech, right? I am a proponent of people being able to speak their mind and not have to worry about any type of backlash. This is something that I believe in, right? And so freedom of speech is what gave me the freedom to be able to be on this mic and speak my mind freely and have shows that may rub people the wrong way, but I'm only speaking my truth and I'm only speaking my mind. And there's many civil rights activists that we talked about. We talked about MLK. We talk about Marcus Garvey. You talk about Malcolm X. We talk about all these different folks. You can go on and on and on and on, whether it's civil rights leaders or whether or not it's, voting rights leaders like Fannie Lou Hamer, or whether it's people like Thurgood Marshall who was leading from the bench. We have a lot of different activists and civil rights activists because of the freedom of speech. These civil rights activists were able to fight for the right for me to be able to get here and speak my mind publicly and talk about the blatant racism that we see in this world and the evils of America. That freedom of speech allowed for those African Americans and those who joined them who weren't African American, right? From different backgrounds who marched with them. They went on the bus with them. They did the freedom rides with them. It wasn't always black people, but everybody had the right to demonstrate because that was protected. See, the First Amendment right makes it so my opinion, right, your opinion is never impeded on because someone else doesn't feel comfortable, right? For example, the right to assemble. We have that right to assemble, the right to protest. And I, for one, don't want white nationalist groups protesting or assembling anywhere in the city of Milwaukee. Rhea, how do you feel? Would you feel comfortable with white nationalist groups marching up and down Wisconsin Avenue?
No, not at all.
But guess what? Just because we don't feel comfortable don't mean they don't have the right to do that. So it is important to understand that despite how sick somebody's message can be, because this is America, we have a freedom of speech. We have the freedom to assemble. We have a freedom to be able to protest, right? You know, we have civil liberties in this country. And as long as you're not on private property or you threatening folks, you have every right to utilize those civil liberties. But yesterday, when y'all president signed an executive order making flag burning illegal, I took issue with that. And let me be very clear, very, very clear. I will never, ever, ever in my life burn a flag. When they was burning LeBron James jersey, I thought that was stupid as well. But I would never, ever burn the American flag or any flag because that's just not what I do. And I do think that's disrespectful to our flag. But again, not my thing. I disagree with it. But just because I disagree with it does not mean that I can tell people what they can and what they can't do. See, regardless of the atrocities of our country, and we have many atrocities of our country, I still love America. But the thing about this is just because I'm against flag burning doesn't mean that somebody can't go burn a flag. Because in America, you have every right to burn an American flag because it is protected speech by the United States Supreme Court. And when the U.S. Senate in the late 80s tried to make it illegal, the United States Supreme Court said, not so fast. You can't do that. Americans can legally burn a flag. So to see a president use the stroke of a pen to defy the United States Supreme Court decision from 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago, almost 40 years ago, I guess just more 35 years ago. It just once again shows that the president doesn't respect our Supreme Court, nor does he respect our Constitution, and show that there is no guardrails in place to his power. Now, again, it's not just about the American flag. It's about thinking one man has the power to say you can't do this, and it is all of a sudden the rule of law. We all understand how a bill becomes a law. We've all seen the cartoon. I wonder if they still, this is a bill, I'm just a bill. What was that called, Rhea, when we had to watch that, I'm just a bill? We all learned about this, right?
Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock. She didn't Google it. She just thought of it. We all saw that, right? We all understand that. So for a president to do that is problematic. Now, we have seen him deploy the National Guard in D.C. and has threatened to do it in other places where black faces are leaders. We've talked about that as well. And now recently he has removed yet another black leader in from government. This time, while making claims that she illegally had some mortgage fraud. And this woman's name is Lisa Cook, who was the first black woman to serve as a Fed government chair and was appointed by Joe Biden. What a surprise. Joe Biden's appointed a black woman. Oh, wow. What a surprise. That's what he did a lot of, is appointing a lot of black women. Qualified black women. But Biden elevated this black woman to this position, and she is the first black woman to ever serve as a Fed chair, a Fed governing chair, ever in its 111 plus year history. And within 3-4 years of her being a Fed chair, of course, Donald Trump wants to remove her. And the way that he's trying to remove her is illegal. Doesn't have the grounds to do it. But it's all him manipulating and playing the game. And of course, he attacked the black woman. That's why I've always find it so interesting when we talk about what did Biden do for black folks. Well, what has Trump done for black folks? Trump has removed black generals, or I shouldn't say generals, joint chiefs of staffs, has pressured people to step down from the African American Museum in D.C., and now he's trying to remove the first black female to ever serve on the Fed government chair, and this is the Federal Reserve when we're talking about, so everybody knows this has to do with money and setting interest rates and different things like that. Lisa Cook, and he's doing it illegally. He doesn't have the authority to do it. And he's trying to cover up the tracks of our government. It's terrible right now. Everything is bad. Tariffs are bad. Look up the prices. Peep this. Tariffs are causing prices. And you can go to different county sheriff's office and ask them the price of drugs for those who are going through addiction, alcoholism. The price of the pill is up over 100% because of tariffs. So it's costing us taxpayers more and Medicaid more. But my whole point is Truth Nation is that when will the will of the people finally say enough is enough? We need those who regret voting for Donald Trump to finally speak up. It is okay. Like, it is okay for you to say, I messed up. Like, I understand, like, yeah, whoopsie, it's my bad. That's okay. I may be irritated that we had to go through this again, but it is what it is. But at this point, we need to point out the fact that Trump continues to mess up. The dollar has lost 11% of its value. The lowest that after going up, and having so much value has dropped 11% since Trump took office. That reverses a 30-year trend of us gaining value. Y'all got to understand what's happening. Our country is crumbling. And so when I see a president crossing a line and making it illegal to burn flags, but then have the audacity to pardon folks on January 6th who not only stormed the Capitol, but they ripped the American flag down off the Capitol. That is an act of war. But those folks were pardoned. So don't sit here and think he all of a sudden gives a damn about the flag. He cares about power. And we need folks to wake up and understand that the crumbling of our democracy has arrived, and it is alive and well. And right now, all you see is it coming downhill fast like an unstoppable mudslide. That's the way I feel right now in this country. Think of a mudslide that you see, and the mud just coming down. And there's nothing you can do to stop that mudslide from destroying everything that we have. And I'm trying to understand what will it take for folks to realize that Trump and his administration are truly the villains in this movie. And unfortunately, the victims are our fellow Americans who are just trying to have a better life. Yes, people from Latin America and Hispanic folks are clearly under attack, but black folks, we under attack too. And when we come back on the other side, I'm going to talk about that. Because we're going to follow the tea leaves of some things that are being said and what they want to do. Because we talked about the National Guard, and trust me, we knew D.C. was going to be the first one. They were going to talk about other cities. He already said he was going to talk about other cities. Good luck. And now, when we had a conversation yesterday talking about the crime in Milwaukee with youth and what should we do next, I want to pick that conversation back up. Why? It's because I stumbled across something that's also happening in D.C. that has to focus on charging teenagers as adults. And I want to tell y'all why we should be wary of a push to charge teenagers as adults and leave it up to the discretion of courts here in America that have been proven to be racist. So in 3 minutes, we're going to continue the conversation about the crime we've seen here in Milwaukee, but more so the crime victims of the children that I talked about yesterday, the 59 kids that have been shot in this city of Milwaukee, and the perpetrators and what we do next. And I'm going to use D.C. as a linchpin and a starting point to have this discussion. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. You can watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. I didn't go to YouTube yet, Rhea. That's a rarity. I usually go to YouTube right away to try to see what y'all talking about inside the YouTube. But make sure y'all go and watch and stream us live on YouTube. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe as well. But we're going to have a powerful conversation, as Tori Lowe says, because I got to share with y'all some data. And guess what? There's somebody shaking their head in here because she might be on the wrong side of history. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. We'll be back in 3 minutes. This is 101.7 The Truth's Kyle Wallace, and I am Milwaukee. I take great pride in being a 414 boy and representing the city that I love. The great memories I have of going to Northtown Cinema to see movies with family and friends, to going to Capitol Court to see the Black Santa Claus, this city has helped shape me into the man that I am today, and I pledge to utilize my voice as a way to advocate for you in our community. Join the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations where you can speak your truth. We are the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Are you scrolling through life instead of living it? With US Cellular's US Mode, it's easier than ever to block out distractions and focus on what truly matters, making genuine connections. And now, through the 10K Life in US Mode sweepstakes, you could win $10,000 to reconnect with what's most important. Imagine the joy of creating lifelong memories with loved ones on a once-in-a-lifetime journey. Don't miss out. Enter now at giveaway.uscellular.com. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes runs now till August 31st, 2025. See official rules online. Switch to US Mode and live more. Tired of hearing no from other banks? No to a loan? No to a checking account? Just no? At Brewery Credit Union, we find ways to say yes. Yes to second chances. Yes to rebuilding credit. Yes to helping you save, borrow, and thrive. Work with our credit specialists and move your financial life forward. Brewery Credit Union, Milwaukee's best place to borrow and save. Visit brewerycu.com. That is brewerycu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
It's 101.7 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. It all started with a new invention in 1925, the roll screen. The ability to roll a window screen up and down like a shade. Pella invested in this breakthrough when the business was born in Pella, Iowa, and has introduced the world to innovation, game-changing decisions ever since. They've been at it for a century. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home, and always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Investing in new Pella windows and doors creates long-term energy savings and durability that lasts for years. There's no reason to wait, because if you order by August 31st, get 0% interest for up to 60 months. Certain restrictions apply. Yes, that's up to 5 years with no interest payments, so don't miss out. Visit PellaWI.com today.
This is Truth to Power on 101.7 The Truth app, and streaming live on 101.7 The Truth on YouTube.
Truth Nation, if better sleep has been hard to come by, you are not alone, and the right mattress can make all the difference. That's why Helix Sleep and Steinhoffels have teamed up to bring their award-winning mattress to Steinhoffels. Yes, Helix Sleep is at Steinhoffels, and now you can try Helix in person, something you can't do just anywhere. Right now, Steinhoffels is offering 20%, yes, 20% off all Helix mattress orders just for our Truth Nation listeners. So head to steinhoffels.com to learn more. Helix Sleep at Steinhoffels. Better sleep starts now. I'll be broadcasting live from Steinhoffels next Friday. I think that's Friday the 5th. I'll be broadcasting live from there, so you can come on by Steinhoffels in Menominee Falls, see if they can hook y'all up with something. Definitely 20% off the mattress. And I got a mattress from there a couple years ago, and boy, it changed my life. My couch is from there as well. My living room, I lay on it every single day. So if you're looking to upgrade your home with furniture or mattress or whatever you have, is a lot of great things, go to Steinhoffels and come see me in Menominee Falls on Friday, September 5th. Yes, Rhea Riley. King or queen? Oh, I got a queen. Rhea, why don't you ask me on air? It's a queen mattress. I regret not getting a king.
Huh.
Queen is big enough, but kids like to sleep in the bed, which one day I'm gonna have kids, and
that's true.
And it's not gonna be big enough. But guess what? I'm gonna go to Steinhoffels and upgrade. So I'm probably gonna put this bed into the guest room, and then get me a nice little king. Yep. So that's gonna be coming up. But this is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Again, you can watch and stream us live on YouTube. You can also listen to us by downloading the 101.7 The Truth app, and make sure that you can always stream us anywhere you go on the 101.7 The Truth app as well. But on the other side, I was having a conversation talking about following the tea leaves of what's happening in this country. And I just had to mention off the top was about the fact that there is a Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift got engaged. Congratulations to them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, oh, wow. Anyways, the freedom of speech being under attack. And I am not one who believes in flag burning whatsoever. I would never do it. I would never agree with it. But it is protected speech under the United States Constitution. And a president trying to take away that protected speech under the United States Constitution upheld by the United States Supreme Court is absolutely wrong. And we should be wary of the fact that there's no guardrails. Why are there not people up in arms from both sides saying, what the hell are you doing? You can't do that. There's too many people enabling this psycho to do all these crazy things. And he's aging in front of us. He got bruises on his hand. They said his hand is bruised from shaking hands. You believe that? His hand is bruised from shaking hands.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it. His ankle.
Makeup?
Yeah, I saw the makeup, but then he didn't have the makeup on yesterday. His ankles are swollen. He's dying in front of us. I'm just letting y'all know. He may not die in office, but he is aging in front of us. He's slowing down in front of us. I'm just telling y'all, when you hear him go on these rants and these rambles, don't take it as Trump being Trump. Take it as an old senile man. Because if your grandpa did that, you said, Grandpa, calm down. But he's running the world. Anyways, 833-212-1017. That's the True Talking text line. Security Mike, you have a comment about Trump voters?
Yeah, I would just say, man, keep preaching how you preaching, and you keep reiterating that the people that voted for Trump made a mistake, and if they can admit they made a mistake, maybe they won't vote for him next time. I got two uncles that voted for him, but it may not be a next time. Trump is setting it up to where we may not even be able to vote. Our votes may not even count.
100%.
You see what I'm saying?
Listen,
so
Security Mike, I talked about this yesterday. There was the story that I talked about yesterday was the fact that, and thank you, Security Mike, but go ahead, listen in. Security Mike just said that we may not be able to vote. The Trump administration had fake electorates try to say that Wisconsin in 2020 voted for Donald Trump and not for Joe Biden. That is not making your vote count. He has already tried to do that, right? And again, that's not hyperbole. That's not me exaggerating anything. You can look it up. It is facts. A Trump attorney and somebody who part of the Trump organization tried to hand off fake electorates to somebody who was a staffer in Pennsylvania to try to get it to Mike Pence. So Mike Pence was certified that Wisconsin went for Trump in 2020 when it did not. So it's already happening. This ain't, if y'all think I'm talking crazy, no, this is just facts. Y'all voted for somebody that's crazy. At least some of y'all that's listening. But I do want to transition on to what I was talking about before. And talking about following the tea leaves of what is happening. And yesterday, I shared a staggering statistic about some of the victims and some of the perpetrators of crime here in the city of Milwaukee. And I couldn't stop thinking about that number. I just couldn't. Because it was crazy to me. And I saw some of y'all comments on social media. You can follow 1017 The Truth on Instagram, or you can follow me, 414 Kyle Wallace on Instagram. Kyle Wallace 414? You shook your head. Which one is it?
Are you doing the TikTok or the?
Oh, I'm talking about my Instagram. I think it's Kyle Wallace 414. TikTok. Listen, ain't nobody. Folks ain't using no damn TikTok.
You got some followers.
Yeah, I got some followers, but they all 15. I want that. That's Epstein follow. I don't even care about. I stopped checking that. I don't care about that. 414 Kyle Wallace on Instagram. But the 59 kids in our city of Milwaukee who have been shot this year in 8 months, that is something that still stuck out in my mind. 59 kids had to deal with trauma that we all pray we never have to face. I am definitely scared of being shot. Like I don't want to be shot. Listen, I'm not 50 Cent. I don't want to get shot. I don't want them scars. I don't want to have to walk around with that. Being shot is traumatizing. And you don't just get shot most of the time and walk away. You got to go to the hospital, figure some stuff out. Like, no, I don't want that. So I cannot imagine what was going through the head of these children, these kids who were struck by a bullet, some fatally, some non-fatally. But these kids were shot. And I can't imagine what they had to go through. But then on the flip side, I also talked about this is the same city where there have been 40 kids who have been perpetrators of this violence. 40 kids decided to pull a trigger to try to shoot somebody else, harm someone else in the city of Milwaukee. This is clearly an enormous problem that we face, but what is the solution? This is what we as a community need to figure out, because the movement happening currently in Washington, D.C., and again, what's happening in D.C. It's just practice for what they want to implement in other states. It is a message. And what's happening in D.C. will greatly impact our children's lives for the worst. And as you all know, right now, D.C. is basically under federal control. The federal government is controlling it. I call it martial law when you have the National Guard there roaming and you take control of the police force. But in addition, the United States Attorney for D.C., who is a former TV judge, Jeanine Pirro, is calling for a drastic change in D.C. to curb violence. The way that she thinks they need to clean up D.C. Donald Trump has called for the death penalty in D.C., and guess what? D.C. doesn't have the death penalty, but he said for any murder, there should be the death penalty. He doesn't have the power to do that. But this is the direction we're going. But something that was alarming to me as we talk about the 59 kids who have been shot, but sadly the 40 kids that have been perpetrators of gun violence and shooting guns at other people, the solution that the federal government is trying to push is this. Go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Watch Jeanine Pirro share what she thinks we should do about gun violence and teenagers who are hurting others.
Here says they prosecute nearly 90% of all violent crime cases that get there. What are they not doing that you think they need to be?
Well, I'm not going to criticize the Attorney General. What I will criticize is the fact that the cases of young punks going out, assaulting people, shooting people, I mean, those people belong in the criminal justice system. And the time for coddling young people, 14, 15, 16, 17, is over.
Yeah.
And it's time that we lowered the age of criminal responsibility. And sure, there is juvenile detention. Of course there is. But not all of them get that. And if the purpose of family court is rehabilitation...
What's wrong with rehabilitation?
I think it's great. I think rehabilitation is great, but there's got to be consequences. There's got to be deterrence. There's got to be punishments. We got 12 and 13-year-olds who are trying to break into a car while a woman is in it, threatening her, telling her open the door while her boyfriend's getting the hell kicked out of him.
D.C. law would prevent you from prosecuting those 12 and 13-year-olds as adults.
That's right.
Would you want to prosecute a 12-year-old as an adult?
Sure. I have. As a DA, I have. To me, age is a context. It doesn't determine what the consequence should be. Hey, in criminal court, we can give you rehabilitation. Mm-hmm. A judge can do all that. He can give you probation. But there's got to be a record. There's got to be an accessible record. And there's got to be accountability. And right now, there is not.
And
Attorney General here says they prosecute nearly 90% of all violent crime.
Me and her agree on accountability. But her talking about charging 12 and 13-year-olds as adults and wanting to throw them in jail with adults for snatching purses or stealing cars. And listen, y'all know how I feel about that. But the solution from this administration is to lower the age that you can charge kids, 12 and 13-year-olds, being charged as adults. So what she is saying is Kyle Wallace, when he got into that car as a 10-year-old, enjoy rode in that car, maybe or maybe not. He got behind the wheel, don't know. Had Kyle Wallace gotten pulled over with his friends, my ass would have been in jail. And you know my ass ain't made for jail at 10. My ass ain't made for jail at 35.
Then you should have been in that damn car.
Well, I made a mistake, but I make a mistake, but you talking about criminally charging 12 and 13-year-olds to put them in jail with adults? You gonna put a 14-year-old in jail with adults? That is what my problem is, and I get it. There needs to be accountability, and I want to hear from y'all. What would be okay? Who would be okay with this? 833-212-1017. Do you believe we should charge all teenagers as adults for crimes they commit? And she didn't say murders. She said carjackings, theft. Again, 833-212-1017. Would this deter kids from doing crimes? And like I said, this is a directive from the top within this administration, and undoubtedly, this will trickle down to other states. Mark my word. More states will want to charge kids as adults. 12 and 13-year-olds charged as adults. There's already a handful of states that allow for 14-year-olds to be charged as adults. But what they're saying is if we allow the government to get his way, is that these young Kia boys and Kia girls who I have an issue with them. I do. And there's got to be a process. But what they're saying is stealing a car at 13 should have you in jail with adults. A 13-year-old in a jail with a 35-year-old. Would you be okay with this? 833-212-1017. That is the question that I have. I want to hear from y'all, Truth Nation. You can always text in or call in as well. I see y'all calling in. I'm going to get to y'all after break. I see the text as well. But watching streamers live on YouTube, because I want to have a conversation about this, because the reality of the situation is we are in a country right now where if one man says he wants something done, there is a gaggle of folks who are trying to get it done for him. And when we come back, we'll take your calls, we'll take your texts, but also we'll talk about the warning signs of who do y'all think will be the face of this crime? Who do y'all think, when Jeanine Pirro was telling these stories, who do you think she was picturing in her head? Do you think she was picturing blonde-haired, blue-eyed Timothy? Or do you think she was thinking about the black kid off of 25th in Burleigh? Who do you think is going to be the face of this crime? 833-212-1017. This is Truth to Power. In 4 minutes, I'll take your calls, I'll take your texts, and I'll break down why this is an awful, awful idea to try children as adults for something as simple as carjacking. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace, and we're going to have some more heat on the other side.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because their home policies help protect your dreams and come with a peace of mind. Save up to 25% by bundling home, auto, and life. American Family Insurance. Get a quote from an agent at amfam.com. Products not available in every state. Discounts may not apply to all coverages on an auto or home policy. Discounts do not apply to life insurance policies. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, assigned as operating companies, American Family Life Insurance Company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
This is your Versity Blood Center of Wisconsin Community Impact Moment on 1017 The Truth.
And what are some of the ways that you're inspiring people? Because, you know, one of the biggest opportunities, in particular in the African-American community, is access, exposure, and awareness.
For Versity Blood Center of Wisconsin, we've been here 76 years.
Wow.
And our mantra is saving the lives you love. So if someone you love needs a blood transfusion and they're in any hospital in Southeast Wisconsin here, that blood's coming from us. And so we're trying to make sure that we're communicating that, because I think folks maybe don't understand that blood can't be manufactured. And summers are always tough because schools are out and we collect about 20 to 25% of our blood from schools. Mm-hmm. So it's always a day-to-day struggle. We say that the blood that's on the shelves is the blood that saves lives. And a lot of times people are compelled to donate when something bad happens. And our mission and our job is to educate folks so that we can get ahead of the curve and keep 3 days of inventory on the shelves. Mm-hmm. So we're in a decent spot right now, but we're on the streets every day trying to inspire people to join our mission. One of our big projects that we're proud of is Versity on King, which is part of the Thrive On collaboration in the Gimbel Schuster building on Martin Luther King Drive. And next year, we're going to open a destination center there. It'll be a blood donation center, but it'll be more than that, because we've realized that we can't be transactional with our relationships in the Black community. We need to do things that are intentional and that show that we're there to stay. But the reason that we're there is because not enough people that look like us donate. And so for disorders like sickle cell disease that disproportionately affect us, the race can matter. But I like to say that, you know, Black folks have a superpower in their blood. 44% of Black blood donors will have this rare trait that makes their blood more likely to be able to be a match for a sickle cell patient. And that 44%, like that is way higher than what we would find in other races.
To make an impact by donating blood in your community, visit versity.org today.
This Associated Bank Sports Update on 1017 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Brandon Snide. Milwaukee Brewers snapped their 2-game losing skid, beating the Arizona Diamondbacks in Game 1 of their 4-game series. This one by a final score of 6-5.
In the bullpen, it'll be his ball in the 9th. And Durbin, a high fly ball, deep left field. Gurriel at the track. Bye-bye baseball.
The win gives the Brewers an 82-50 overall record. No Cubs in action, so the Brewers having a 5.5-game lead in the National League Central entering today. Game 2 set for this evening. Jacob Misiorowski on the mound. That first pitch is set for 6:40. And lastly, we'll head over to the NFL as it's cut-down day around the league. The Packers will narrow their roster down to 53 players as they get set for Week 1 against the Detroit Lions. The Sports Update brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I'm your host of Truth to Power, and we're having a conversation about a trend that is about to happen here in America as one of Donald Trump's cronies that he loves, and Jeanine Pirro, is looking to try kids as young as 12 as adults for crimes such as car theft, assault. That is the direction we're heading as a country. And I, for one, don't believe it's coddling kids by not charging 13 and 12-year-olds as adult, because I do think they deserve to be punished. But do they deserve to be punished as adults? That's where the conversation needs to be had. Charging teenagers for crimes as adults, to me, is too punitive. And I understand the importance of accountability. They have to be held accountable for their actions. I get it. But can it be handled in many different ways? When you're talking about murder, okay, that's different. There's facts to the case. That's completely different. We saw here in Milwaukee a 13-year-old murdered a 16-year-old. I don't know all the facts of the case. But there needs to be a conversation about that and what the proper punishment would be. But when you're talking about a group of kids carjacking somebody, should they get in trouble? Absolutely. But should they be in jail with Bobo, who been locked up for 15 years, and he got body counts? And when I talk about body counts, I ain't talking about killing people. I'm talking about body counts. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about body counts. Bobo got body counts. And ain't nobody going to protect that 15-year-old because, again, statistically, we know that when these young kids go to jail, they get sexually assaulted as well. So carjacking, it equates to being behind bars and being sexually assaulted at the age of 14? Nah, I can't get with that. There has to be another way. There has to be another way. 833-212-1017. Tracy in Milwaukee on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts on today's conversation?
Thank you so much for having me. I listen every day, and I love you guys, so thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, Tracy.
I guess I have one question before I state my opinion. Like, is it possible to try them as adults but have them, like, separated so they're not actually with adults but have their own, like, juvenile center for the crimes that they do commit? Because that does change how I view things a little bit.
And I think, and I tried to do some research on this. I am not an attorney or a lawyer. I'm just somebody who does research and takes the research and puts it into my own thoughts and shares the facts here. And based off what I was looking at, I think that if you're tried as an adult, that will lead for you to be able to be put into an adult prison and not a juvenile detention center. And so with that, that's where my concern comes, is the fact that some of these kids may not be put in a juvenile detention. Again, this is based off the research. I am not an expert when it comes to that. I was trying to do some more research on that, but I do not believe kids who are tried as adults are put in juvenile detention centers and then put into prisons, because I saw some facts about the fact that when you put young teenagers inside of prisons, the sexual assault rate and different things like that. So if that was the case, cool, that's a better step, but that's not the case for everybody.
Yeah,
there's a certain age too in different states. It all varies on the state as well.
Yeah, I definitely disagree with trying them as an adult if they're going to be put in a population with adults. I feel like one of the things I was taught as a kid is, like, you can't drive a car unless, A, you take responsibility, because the car could kill somebody if you're not paying attention, and B, my dad told me this in the 80s, like, you can't drive a car if you can't afford insurance. So I think that getting behind the wheel is a pretty weighty responsibility. So even if taking a car for a joyride, the fact that you could possibly kill somebody, ruin somebody's entire life, I think there has to be some more severe punishments and consequences, because I hate waking up every single morning and finding more and more children that are murdered and killed from like cars that are fleeing and just stolen. It's very heartbreaking, and I think that's the biggest thing that's happening in our city, and nobody seems to care.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And Tracy, I think a lot of people care, but unfortunately not enough is getting done. So I agree with you. I agree with you when it comes to that. But definitely the people do care in the community. The community is outraged. But I don't think, if killing somebody when driving a car is murder. So that's completely different conversation where I think that's, hey, if you got to get charged as an adult, that's messed up. And even in that way, they got to figure some stuff out. But I'm talking about things as low as, assaulting somebody, putting somebody behind bars. But 833-212-1017. Again, y'all can watch and stream us live on YouTube. But we're just having a conversation about what should we do with these kids, and should these children be charged as adults? Because there is going to be a movement across this country. Because what you guys saw today, you've seen the president call for the death penalty in Washington, D.C. for anybody that murders someone, which, again, he just can't do that. And then also you're going to see a movement of wanting more states to lower the age of trying kids as adults. Is this the right way to prosecute these kids? Because we got to find a solution. And somebody said on YouTube, we got to get to the root of the problem. I'm right there with you. We do. And I think it starts in the classroom, and I think it starts with parents at home as well. There has to be more accountability inside the household. And that's why when y'all got mad at Kamala Harris, y'all remember this now, they got mad at Kamala Harris for writing tickets for truancy to parents. Oh, she wrote truancy tickets to parents because kids weren't going to school. Well, the data would show you that kids who go to school are more than likely to stay out of trouble and stay out of crime and have better outcomes when they go to school and graduate from high school. But y'all wanted to cry about Kamala Harris charging parents for not taking care of their kids. See, y'all want to have it which way, whatever it is, whatever's convenient for you. Not me. I'm consistent. 833-212-1017. What up, Al from Sherman Park? What are your thoughts on this conversation?
Hey, Kyle. Well, I believe in maybe having a juvenile segregated section with adult time. I think, like in Wisconsin, if a 12-year-old can buy birth control, they can also then receive adult sentences for adult crimes, particularly the ones with weapons and carjacking people with guns. Think that would serve some. How can I say? There are a lot of older people convincing younger people to do crimes because they think they aren't going to get a lot of time. If we could take that notion away, maybe that would reduce some of the crime.
I'm with you on that when it comes to there's a lot of older, irresponsible individuals telling these folks, oh, if you do this, you can get away with this. And I'm with you on if you do an adult crime and separating the population, unfortunately, it varies from state to state on whether or not somebody gets put in a juvenile detention center or somebody's put in an adult prison or whatever, whatever it is, it varies from state to state. But I agree. There needs to be some type of repercussions. I'm not saying if a kid does something wrong, you carjack somebody, it should be a slap on the wrist. Hell no. You need to have some type of consequences. But what does that look like is the question that we have to answer.
Even if you got the Slender Girl treatments where you never got out of the loony bin, that might be a.
Well, they both got out the loony bin now. They both back on the streets. Didn't they just let the one girl out? The last one got out, didn't she?
Did they?
I believe one
left her in there.
The one got out a couple years ago, and I think the last girl, I think her name was Geyer, or let me not get the line. I don't know that Geyser. Yeah, let me not get the line. But I think the second girl was recently just released. Let me try to see if I can find it. Man, it's so hard to find. Well, anyways, 5 days ago, Slender Man Stabber release blocked by community pushback. So it looks like maybe the community didn't want her to be released again. She has been unable to secure a group home willing to take her in, so they're trying to get her in a group home. She's in a mental health facility right now, and they're trying to get her in a group home. So they're trying to get her released, but they're having some problems because they don't want her. But what's interesting, Al, and I'll let you go. What's interesting about that, I'm glad you brought that up, and y'all know I can go in many different directions. Remember when we fought not to have the juvenile detention centers put on the northwest side of Milwaukee, and they still are going to do it anyways? And remember we talked about we didn't want the ICE detention center? Isn't it interesting that some of these communities can say, we don't want one girl to be in our community, and all of a sudden it holds up everything, but when you have a whole group of people in the community saying we don't want this built in our community, they say, yeah, you'll be okay. It's interesting when you got the complexion for the connection. 833-212-1017. Winky Blue, what are your thoughts on kids being tried as adults here in America?
For real violent crimes, man, and carjacking, armed robbers, baby rapers, and people that do senseless homicides, they can lock them up and never let them go. When a kid is tried as an adult, he goes to a juvenile facility, and then when he reaches 18 or 21, in some cases, usually it's 18, they ship him off to Green Bay.
In Wisconsin. It varies from state to state.
Okay, now that's right. Now the problem that we haven't is that we have no juvenile facilities anymore, and I think this was done by design. They got rid of Wales Ethan Allen Boys School. Then we allowed children to dictate their punishment. So you had a bunch of people going up to Lincoln Hills crying, the kids say they being raped, the kids being this here, the kids being that. So they shutting that down. I think they still hold a few, but it's a big facility. These people, they don't have a place to send these youngsters right now, man. So there's no deterrent, okay? Wales is up there.
Winky,
you see how we got some of these schools in our neighborhood?
Winky, can I ask you a quick question? I am interested in this because I know you have quite just a great journey, a great story in your life. Is there a way, when you think about some of these young kids that commit these crimes, 14, 15, 16, young kids, is there a way where we can look at some type of academy like they have at St. John's, and not specifically St. John's, but
look here.
And build something from
brother.
Yes, sir.
Okay, brother. We don't want no academies, man. We don't need maybe a group, maybe a boot camp here or there. We need to go to boys' prison, man, like Wales, like we all had to do, okay? St. Charles is a joke, man, okay? You go out to Calamarain was a boys' prison till they turned it into a man's prison. You got to go to a prison.
So, Winky,
you got to go to jail. Then you make up in your mind.
So we got to, Winky, we have somebody who was part of a murder who is now the Adam Procell, who is now overseeing the formerly known as Office of Violence Prevention. Do you think he should still be behind bars?
Listen to this here. As a child, he committed this crime, okay? Now, the deal with him is he has no real street cred. Don't nobody know him, man. Okay. You know, so he can't get the real street players
Winky, I appreciate you. All I'm saying, he answered the question. I just wanted to know that specific thing about Adam Purcell, if he felt like Adam should still be behind bars and it should, have to serve, should he still be serving time? That's all I was asking. 833-212-1017. Should kids be charged as adults? Because there is a movement that's going to be happening and starting in D.C. for more states to put kids in jails with adults. 833-212-1017. Marlon, what are your thoughts on this conversation?
How you doing? Good afternoon. I don't think kids should be charged as adults ever. They are, you talk about how they're still developing, their brains are still developing, they're influenced by a lot of different things. I do not think that children should be tried as adults because a lot of times adult sentences are way longer. Adult sentences, some of them do end up in adult institutions, like you said, and the rape factor and all that kind of stuff. So if somebody's brain is still developing, and we're not teaching them how to be individuals or how to be productive members of society, or they have bad parenting, or, there's so many different reasons why they do what they do. We should not be putting them in jail for the rest of their life because their brains are still developing.
I agree.
Now,
Marlon.
if you think it's yourself at 14, 15, 16 years old compared to now, your thought processes and things are way different compared to then, and I think that's what happens. But this lock them up, throw away the key mentality. We have to get out of that. We have to start figuring out ways to help people, because all I'm going to say is if you continue to throw people in jail, what you got to do, you got to build more prisons, which raises your taxes, and everybody talk about, my taxes are too high. So that's one effect as well.
I appreciate you, Marlon, with the great insight and sharing your perspective. Truth Nation, as always, y'all can watch the stream us live on YouTube. I appreciate your perspective. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the statistics of why we need to be very fearful of this, because I really want us to understand is that African-American, specifically males, young females too, but the face that they're thinking about when they're thinking about throwing these kids in jail are black faces. So when you advocate for this, you're advocating for more black people to be in jail, more black kids to be in jail. I'm going to talk about that when we come back. But before we do, one call, that's all, with Gruber Law Offices. If you or a loved one is ever injured in an accident, make sure you call Gruber Law Offices because they'll stand up for you. I'm telling y'all, don't go back and forth with the insurance companies. I tried to do that, and I felt like an idiot. So I called Gruber, and they took care of everything. I didn't have to talk to an insurance company anymore. They got me money. They made sure my car was taken care of. My back was in pain, made sure I was taken care of with physical therapy. And the way they took care of me is exactly how they take care of you. First class, because that is the only thing and the only way Gruber Law Offices knows how to do it. They've been in the community for 35-plus years, and you know why? Everybody knows the slogan is because of the results that they get. So if your loved one is ever injured in an accident, visit Gruber-Law.com today. That is Gruber-Law.com today, or simply call 414-276-6666. That's 414-276-6666. And always remember, it's one call, that's all, with Gruber Law Offices. But I'm going to tell you on the other side, well, all this is attack against black folks once again.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and streaming live on 101.7 The Truth on YouTube.
Your expression on your face, that's got to me. And the man wasn't lying.
What you mean the expression on my face? How can you see my face? You listening to me on the radio, man.
No, I'm watching you on YouTube, too.
Oh, all right, then. You're an old man, and you know about YouTube. How old are you, Adam? You about 85.
83.
I'll be dipped. How blessed are we to have you.
Watch all your favorite 101.7 The Truth shows by subscribing to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube.
I've always been taught, save a little now so you can live a lot later. That lesson stuck with me. Now with U.S. Bank Smartly Checking and Savings and their digital tools, I can track everything from my daily spending to planning my dream vacation. It's not just about saving. It's about honoring where you came from and carving out new traditions one goal at a time with a little help from U.S. Bank. Building a future together. That's the power of us. Visit usbank.com/power of us to learn more. Member FDIC.
It's 101.7 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. It all started with a new invention in 1925, the roll screen. The ability to roll a window screen up and down like a shade. Pella invested in this breakthrough when the business was born in Pella, Iowa, and has introduced the world to innovation, game-changing decisions ever since. They've been at it for a century. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home, and always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Investing in new Pella windows and doors creates long-term energy savings and durability that lasts for years. There's no reason to wait, because if you order by August 31st, get 0% interest for up to 60 months. Certain restrictions apply. Yes, that's up to 5 years with no interest payments, so don't miss out. Visit PellaWI.com today.
At Gruber Law Offices, we've helped tens of thousands of families after a serious accident. Our priority has always been our clients. We're here for you whenever you may need us. One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You are listening to Truth to Power on 101.7 The Truth app, and streaming live on 101.7 The Truth on YouTube.
Botox can do more for men than just smooth out your wrinkles. It can help reduce chronic migraine, stress-related facial tension, and even excessive sweating. Come out to Botox and Beers Saturday, September 13th at Sweet Tox in Menominee Falls. It's an event for men who want to feel better, perform better, and look sharp without the fuss. Watch college football get treated with Botox in the low-key, no-pressure setting of Sweet Tox. Then just have a brew when you're done. It is all fun and it's all good, and it's upgrading yourself the way you need it. Spots are limited, so reserve yours now at sweettox.com. That's SWEETTOX.com. This is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Again, watch and stream us live on YouTube. And I appreciate y'all on YouTube chiming in as always. And I appreciate y'all on the talking text line chiming in as always. And what I'll say is this, is that it is a slippery slope that we're talking about. And I get it. I see somebody on the talking text line, Angela, talking about we did charge the Sherry talking about charge the mothers and the fathers for the people who committed the crime at 12 or 13 years old. Again, it's all a slippery slope. And I do think there needs to be repercussions for actions, 100%. But I'm not feeling good about putting a 14 or 15-year-old in prison with an adult for carjacking somebody. I feel like there's alternative ways that we can handle this. And what we have to understand is after they over-incarcerated our children back in the 90s, in the early 2000s, y'all was up in arms. I say y'all because I was a kid. I wasn't doing none of that. But what we know is going to happen is once they over-incarcerate our kids and over-police our kids, and all of a sudden we see our youth population going to jail, we're going to start crying and asking the question, why are they locking up so many of our young kids? We're going to start screaming, this is not fair that our black kids are getting longer sentences for similar crimes compared to their counterpart of white kids. We're going to bring up all those facts and we're going to be mad and upset. And I don't care about the socioeconomic situation whatsoever, but I just want us to understand that this is a slippery slope. But I need to make people aware of what is happening in D.C. because Milwaukee could be next. Protect our kids, hold them accountable, and if you got a kid that's a teenager and acting a fool, you better take care of them before the government do. Because this government don't give a damn. They'll put you away and throw away the key. This has been Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Thank y'all so much, Truth Nation. Tori Lowe Show is up next from 1 to 4. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Love y'all.
Need a way to hype up your day?
Hey, is this